All right. Instagram, what's up with you? There we go. All right. Good evening, good evening, good evening, y'all. How are we doing? So, if you are tuning in, this is Ryan Jenkins of CROWNEDBYNICHELE Publishing, and this is my podcast. This is episode 2. So, I kept racking my mind because we're still in the beginning of the school year, even though I know Charleston County, y'all started today. But at the same time, I kept thinking about mentally, what can we do as parents to make sure our house feels like a home. Every time I say that, I hear Luther Vandross in my head. So I thought of no better way to bring in my homie from the Woo, who we actually worked together at Longleaf Middle School for a long period of time, but she's always been the girl. We sang on the AOE.
Come on.
Melodies from heaven. Rain down.
And it did.
It did. We were good. We were very good. So, but we go all the way back to there. So she is a licensed professional counselor. And the reason why I brought her in here, because I've seen her do the work. She was that counselor. Even when kids did not have her, they would find themselves in her office.
Indeed.
And it was just like, she knew how to form that relationship, and she knows her stuff. She has her own practice, which she will tell you more about, but her LLC is COPEWITHJANELLE. So she has always been a good person to talk to professionally if things are going on. I remember just sitting in her office and just sharing some of my grievances and be able to share with her, but she knows her stuff. So that's why she is on here, because she's going to give y'all some expertise, some tools that I believe will help you be better parents and have a safer environment where they can thrive. Anything else you want to add to that introduction?
I mean, you did such a wonderful job. Thank you for introducing me like that. Yes. So, like Ryan said, I am Janelle of Cope with Janelle, which stands for Climb Over Problems Every Day. Currently located at Everyday Wellness, downtown Columbia. And I've been a counselor, whether it's in the school or in the community setting, for 23 going on 24 years. I know I don't look that old, right?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Johnson & Johnson keeps the skin soft. And I drink my water.
Yes.
Okay, that's what you got to do. You got to drink water. But yeah, definitely my sweet spot. Obviously, I am an LPC, so I am a licensed therapist and a life coach, and I see a lot of adults, but I also see a lot of children still. So even though I'm not in a school anymore, I see a lot of kids still, because everybody needs their own couch.
Yes. Let me make sure that we are both equally. Yes. Now that's better. Okay. So I will be going back and forth between screens, because like I told y'all, I'm still learning this whole StreamYard thing. So if you post comments, hopefully I will be able to see them. So I will be going back and forth the screen, but I'm also going to share my screen because she's put together a presentation. One of the things, for those of you who don't know, I have, a college student. And when I think, I say that out loud now.
I just realized you talking about your son. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. So he's moving in Saturday, but
I am done.
So I just thought about how I was very intentional about how the home was and making sure there was an environment conducive for him to be himself, to let his guard down, and just to be comfortable that if he did have something going on, he could come and talk to me and say whatever. And that was my whole reason why for bringing you on and bringing on this this conversation, because at the end of the day, parents, you want them to be able to talk with you. You want them to be able to communicate with you, because at the end of the day, you are their biggest advocate. So I'm going to bring up her presentation. Make sure I'm doing this the right way. Present and then share screen. Go up. Did I miss it?
Yep. Up. Here you go.
There we go.
Safe house.
The real girl. I love how you tweaked my title.
That is absolutely
the safe house. The safe house, y'all.
Winthrop's education at its finest, right there.
Yes. Yes. So I'm gonna make sure. Let me see how it looks here. Does it show the whole screen? Yeah, it shows part of it. Okay, so I just want to make sure. Okay, so it shows us to the side.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna go back to this screen so I can navigate, and I will go back and forth through three screens. So again, she called this parenting tips to encourage vulnerability and transparency for their children. Because what trips me out, and I love how you put that in the title, because I just wonder how much more, and again, parents know better when they do better, but I just wonder how much more we would have grown if our parents would have said, when I was your age, I did this. And just being open and let them know they made mistakes just like us.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to let you get started and we'll just go from there. So
yeah, absolutely. So just real quick, I'm married to a pastor, so I'm going to say, I'm not going to be before you long. But the first and foremost, you got to work on yourself before you can work on safety. Like, there's no possible way that we as parents can just automatically dive right into our children without any type of warm up, without any type of self-check. We all have our own ACEs scores, or we all have our own traumas and everything, right? And so you got to ask yourself a lot of the times, am I even emotionally available? Am I even ready to engage in some of these conversations? Like, the transparency that I'm asking for, will I even be willing to give? I mean, because our children are a give respect to, get respect to give respect, or you have to pay something in order to take something out. That's how a lot of the children are now. And so you have to, as the parent, see, what am I coming with? Am I even ready to receive stuff? Ask yourself, there's fundamental truths as it pertains to just emotional maturity and availability. You got to ask yourself some questions. Take a hard look in the mirror. Like, am I even able to recognize somebody else's feelings? Am I even interpreting the feelings right that I think I'm seeing? Am I even asking for clarity on the feeling that I think that I'm seeing? You know how when we get our kids and we say something to them and then they get the hush mouth. And so all of a sudden, if you grew up in any kind of Black household, oh, but you got an attitude for? Fix your face. Oh, you could take that to the room. Don't be out here with that. Like, it shuts down the feelings, right? But I'm asking my kids to share. But then I shut your feelings down. But why do I do that? Oh, because that was my trauma.
Oh my gosh. I was just thinking about that the other day, how sometimes as parents, we have to learn how to read the room.
Read it.
So it was, I don't know what was going on with Joshua one day, but it was obviously he was upset.
Yeah.
And instead of me backing away, I was just like, and he was just like, can you just leave my room right now? And I couldn't even be mad and say he was being disrespectful, because it was obviously he was already upset.
Right.
And old school Ryan back in the day was like, you can't. But then I was like, no, he's already upset and frustrated. Let me just back out and just move away. Right. And there were other times where I saw he was upset and I didn't even say anything. I waited for him to come to me.
Yeah.
And let him address whatever he needed to address. So I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Absolutely. I mean, and even when we express our own emotions, right? Like, our children do what they see. Are we expressing our own emotions effectively or appropriately? Like, are we trying to incorporate different ways to diffuse a situation or to regulate back to our normal state of our emotions? Like, what are we doing that they're going to be modeling? So the very first thing, self-check for sure.
So you said something, and I hope I'm not deviating from your presentation, but you said something about fix your face when they huff and puff. Are we wrong to check that because we get frustrated and we huff and puff?
Right.
We get frustrated, we may roll our eyes. So as a child, when do you allow them to express themselves versus them deeming them being disrespectful?
Right. So here's the thing, right? You just said it. You said, when we get angry, we huff and puff. When we get angry, we roll our eyes. Well, then if we do that, if that is what I as a parent am doing when I get frustrated with you, how can I even, what do I stand on to say, hey, you can't do that?
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. That's disrespectful. So then does that not inadvertently or indirectly then teach them, oh, because I'm the adult, I can disrespect you. So then does that open the door for any other adult to come in and disrespect my kid?
Wow.
And then when that other adult does disrespect my kid, do I come in with the huff and puff with this other person? Like, it's all a vicious cycle.
Behavior. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. They do as we do, not as we say.
And I say that because I immediately flash back to one time Joshua was huffing and puffing about something, and I remember he said, "You huff and puff too. You get frustrated too." And I was like,
out of the mouths of babes.
I do. I can't even be mad right now because I do. So it's like it's that transparency and being able to be honest with yourself and realize if these kids are going to be adults, they mimic what they see.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. So we're going to go to the next point.
So the other thing I kind of already alluded to, but be willing to demonstrate the transparency that you seek. You know what I mean? A lot of times, kids will come home from school and we as the parents will say that infamous line, "How was your day?" Right? And so they were like, "Man, it was all right. It was good," as they get their snack and walk up to their room or whatever they do, right? But then perhaps your spouse or your friend will call or be like, "Well, how's your day?" And sometimes we'll give that same response. Or let's say when the children want to, they come in and they look like something has happened, but they're not explaining. There's a difference between explaining versus expressing. If I come in the house and I sit down and I'm like, you automatically are going to assume what?
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong. So now tell me what's wrong. Can you tell me what's wrong?
No.
You cannot tell me what's wrong because I have not exactly. I have not explained. So I cannot just make an assumption. Maybe I'm sitting like this because, man, you didn't even really ask me how I was feeling like on the inside. You only asked me about my day. You didn't ask me about, why would you even guess that I would be angry about, like, or am I angry? Am I just frustrated? Like, there's been no identification. There's been no facts, nothing as a description to indicate what's going on with me. Explaining versus expressing. But again, it comes back to me as a parent. When I discipline my kid, am I explaining what's going on? Or am I expressing the discipline? Like, if you don't know why you're getting hemmed up right now, the hem up ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking with you and I'm saying, hey, listen, this is where you went wrong, or this is what was done that was seen as disrespectful or inappropriate. This is what we need to do next time. We can't do that. We can't have that. You're going to have to make a choice. Whatever your choice is, you're going to have to live with whatever the consequence is. But that's me still disciplining and laying out expectations.
Yes.
But I cannot, like my daughter left her book bag this morning. I got in the car and I said, hey, y'all got your book bags and your lunch boxes? They're like, yep. And I'm still in the driveway. Anybody that knows North Springs Elementary and that car ride line.
Oh, the years. That is not.
That is not where you want to be. Man, we get into the thick of the car ride line. I'm already pulling into the school. Oh, man, I left my book bag. I said, I said, I know you lying because I asked. And she immediately started, she was like, oh, I'm sorry. Because you know they know they in trouble when they start automatically. I'm sorry. I said, I already know that you are sorry about this. There's nothing for me to do in this situation but to go back and get the book bag. But there was a reason why I asked. We have to pay more attention when we leave. The expectation, when I ask you, I need you to check, make sure, and then respond. So I corrected. Was I pissed? Yeah. Because I got to go to work still. Yeah. However, if I just express that, what has she learned?
Exactly.
If I turn around and I'm like, rah, 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 then what? She's still going to lead a book bag mom. And here we are. You know, you got to model the behavior, and you really have to confirm whatever it is that you're perceiving. Ask your child what it is that they're actually feeling. Or even if they say, I don't know, then tell them the story that you're telling yourself. You know, the story I'm telling myself right now is that you are angry with me because I didn't immediately respond to you when you asked to go such and such. Is that true? Is that accurate? Give them an opportunity to say, yes, that is, or no, that's not. Oh, no, it's not. Tell me what it is then. Like, confirm what you're perceiving instead of just going out here and making an assumption and then developing behaviors based upon whatever belief you just established.
Wow, it was so much you just said in that oh goodness. That
I know, this is what you get when you sit down with a therapist and start talking to therapists.
Yes. I love that. So it's just, I love how you just said, you explained to her, because we came from the generation, I said what I said, or it's because I said so. And there are some moments, but for the most part, we have this, because in their mind, they're thinking, these kids, as much as they said these kids don't think because of social media or computers, no, these kids are thinkers.
They are.
And they will analyze, well, why did you do such and such, but you didn't do that before? Like, kids are really paying attention to you and they listen to you. Yeah. I will never get the day I was yelling at Josh for something. He was just calmly, he said, why are you yelling?
Ain't that something when they sitting there calm with you and you all the way on 10? Yeah. What are you doing?
So it's just like, and I remember one time even apologizing and said, okay, I understand I shouldn't yell, but I'm frustrated. And he, we talked about that. But at the same time, you really have to realize at the end of the day, like I said already, we have to model the behavior we want to see. And we can't make excuses.
For sure.
Because we're adults, I can do whatever. And,
sure.
And that's not, because you wouldn't want your boss or...
Definitely not. Absolutely not.
You wouldn't want your boss or your co-worker to speak to you in that such a matter. So it's the same way for our kids. Yeah. Let's go to the next slide, because I feel like I could go another.
You listen. I like the fact that you apologize to your son, like when if you catch yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because we as adults are not above apologizing, and that's modeling behavior too. Like. Listen, you're worth an apology. If I wronged you, I'm going to apologize to you. There have been various times that I've apologized to my children, and that is more powerful than to try to use scare tactics or really gruff them into whatever behavior I'm trying to get them to do.
But you know what I was trying to say? And it just speaks volumes that they matter. Yeah. And when you say, well, I apologize. And there have been times where I've gone off, thought about it, came back and was like, Joshua, I shouldn't have did such and such. Yeah. And he's like, and of course, sometimes I'm like, whatever. But for the fact that I took that time to say that, that's the reason why I feel like we have a very amicable relationship. Absolutely. It's not a whole bunch of hollering in here, maybe over sports or X-Men, but it's not, but set boundaries and routines.
Yeah. So, when you can predict something, you can feel safe with it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a certain amount of safety that accompanies predictability and creates stability and creates a consistency for children to feel like, okay, I can let my guard down right here. But the key is to establish like the healthy boundaries. So like I use that word boundaries, but I think people sometimes they get the boundaries thing, mixed up. Boundaries does not mean a whole bunch of stringent rules or stuff that just don't make sense because you have preferences. Like, I mean, boundaries, it's just like a fence. You put up a fence. Let's say I have a house and I have a fence and I have a pool in my backyard. I put the fence up to protect people from going in my yard and drowning in my pool. But the fence is also up to protect me from the liability because I have this pool in my backyard. A boundary should provide safety for the person putting it up as well as the people who have to abide by it. And so, like, it has to make sense. For example, growing up, I had a curfew. Everybody at some point in time probably had some type of curfew. Growing up, had a curfew, and in my household, growing up with a Jamaican father from Kingston, Jamaica, you grow up with a Jamaican father, and you got them strict up rules and regulations at the house. So I grew up with my Jamaican father and my mother from Brooklyn, from big apartments in Brooklyn. So my mother is tough. Nobody was calling the house after 9 o'clock. Don't you come in the house after such a certain time, and ain't nobody calling. If you calling, like, somebody is really in a bad way, right? No calls. These are boundaries that everybody followed, like that everyone adhered to. What was the purpose behind it? Well, because if everyone was in the house by this time and accounted for, then my parents could rest easy knowing that I was safe, and and my friends and everyone else already knew the expectations, so they wasn't going to call or come by or whatever the case may be, right? But in the event that someone did try to breach the boundary, they knew that wasn't a regular circumstance. That was something that was either an emergency, or someone really just didn't know and needed to be told. That's the only time that anybody should be like bridging or breaching any of that safety. And most times everyone already knew it was an emergency, why anybody would be calling or coming by. But I say this to put out the notion that when we have healthy boundaries, as opposed to boundaries like, oh, well, you are not going to be able to go outside. You can't go outside on the weekends because I need you in the house cleaning. Okay. What's the reason? Why is that healthy? Or you can't have these friends that are doing these things, but I come in and I have friends that are drinking and smoking in my house as adults.
So we in a contradiction, setting boundaries, but they're a contradiction to what your child.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, the boundaries have to make sense. They have to be healthy. Boundaries even on food. At my house, my kids know kitchen closes at 7:30. Don't come in here asking for nothing after 7:30. But that boundary is not because, oh, yes, I want you to starve to death. No, they eat very well throughout the whole day. But a boundary is put in place because I was obese, overweight all my life. I want my children to be healthier. I want them to have a longer life. I don't want them eating all in the middle of the night and then going to lay right down and be a contributing factor to childhood obesity. Like, I don't want that. Boundaries have to make sense. But children thrive under structure. If there's predictability, if they know that, oh, yep, mom will be home at 9 o'clock, or everyone is going to be in the house at 9 o'clock because that's the curfew time, and that's when anyone else from the outside can reach me, then I know that if I have something important to talk about with my mom, 9 o'clock is probably a good time to do it because ain't nobody going to interrupt us. I know that that's unencumbered time. This is a healthy boundary. I can predict that. I can plan around that. You want to create some predictability.
So what are some more examples of boundaries and routines we can set? Like I'm thinking about with Joshua growing up, stayed on honor roll. And I remember at one point in time, I wanted to tell him, okay, no video games during the week. And before I can even let those words come out of my mouth, Janelle, no, he comes to me, you know what? I don't think I need to play video games during the week. I need to wait until the weekend. And I was just like, because his bedtime was like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So he was like, I don't have time. I have work to do. And it was like, oh, okay, that's what works for you. And he knew homework had to be done. Before we do anything, homework has to be done. So what other boundaries do you think they should have?
Yeah. Let me just put this out here, but that as an example in mind, boundaries like that came about because of the value systems. Whenever we have value systems or beliefs, it births behaviors, right?
Wow. Yes.
And so whatever it is that you truly value, people will know about you because they'll be able to tell based upon your actions what you do. And so by Joshua coming in and being like, I think I really don't need to do video games during the week. I just need to hold that off until the weekend. Basically, what I can infer from that is that, this house values educational time, values prioritizing education. And that's been something that's been instilled in Joshua because our value systems are usually handed down to us when we are children.
Yes.
But as he's going off to college, he is going to now begin to develop his own value system and keep some things and throw some things away and morph some things. And that's just us being adults and growing up and being individuals. So whatever the values are in your house are really what's going to drive the boundaries. And so like if now in the 40-40 club, I value mobility. So going to the chiropractor and stretching or whatever, like I need to do all of the things. But when it comes to the kids, like a value that you may have is cleanliness. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Boundaries. No, you cannot walk around in the house with your shoes on from coming in from school, or you have to do your own laundry. The laundry room is your sister's on Monday, your brother's on Tuesday, mine and dad's on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday is your day. That's a boundary on those other days. You can't cross over into those other days. So it's going to make you prioritize what it is that you need to do. For Joshua, since he's going off to college, everybody needs money when they go off to college, right? Or else they're on that ramen noodle diet. And so let's say if he has his own account, but you're also on the account, helping him to decide how much allotment of money he needs to be able to spend per week or whatnot, and allowing that to be the only amount that is put into the checking to be able to use for transactional purposes. Like helping that until he's already established, yep, I can do this, until he comes to you like, hey, you know what? I don't think I need to play the game during the week.
Yeah, because I'll admit he doesn't have a problem not spending his money.
Oh, so y'all can tell he just walked in.
Yeah.
So, hey, friend. What's up?
All right.
Good. My little college guy.
Okay, we'll have this conversation later. I'm in the middle. I pointed you out to talk about you, not to include you. Did you want to walk? Do you want to come on, Joshua?
Hey, I didn't see you in a month of Sundays. How you doing? Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
You're not really in the. You want to walk around so they can see the fresh.
Oh yeah, that's you
the
right
fresh
there.
twist.
Fresh twist. Come on in that lock life. Come on. Oh, what the delectable?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, the children. See,
Yes,
but he feels safe.
Yeah.
To say delectable in front of you, because I don't know.
So I'm going to check the different streams to see if any of y'all have any questions to make sure I'm not missing anything. Just a midway point. So I'm going to see if there's any comments. Hold on.
Hey, Aunt Sheila.
So thank you for tuning in. Let's make sure it's not any on Instagram. Instagram, y'all be logging on and be watching, but y'all, I need y'all to comment, like say something. There's Cynthia. She was at Longleaf with us.
Hey, Sin.
So Emily, I taught her a month of Sundays ago. Sean Bigby, he's a minister of music.
Hey, JoJo, Ladybug.
Purdue, how are you?
Oh, Danina's on. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Hey, Kennedy.
So I'm trying to remember which Kennedy that is though, because I know 3 of them. So, but if you have any questions or any comments, please comment and say anything because we want to hear from y'all. Anything y'all want to chime in. So let's go to her next point.
Yeah. So basically, incorporating play and affection in parenting. I know that. So my mother, whenever she would like really just get on my nerves and get under my skin, if we would go anywhere and we were in the car, she would turn on some music or whatever. She would start singing and like poking at me or whatnot. And I would end up like coming out of my funk and just mom be like, I can't stand you, mom. You know? But it was through the incorporation of play in touch, affection, that I was able to let some of the guard down and be able to become more resilient in conflict. You know, we can hold a grudge for forever. You can be mad at someone and it take a long time for you to just get over that. Parents, just come to the resolve. You're going to piss your kids off at some point in time.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to hold a grudge with you for whatever reason. And they're entitled to have their feelings. I tell my kids all the time, your feelings are valid. Can you please have your feelings and let me have mine? Thank you. Because I feel a way too. So we are both feeling. We're feeling what we're feeling. It's tough having a therapist as a mom. But like everyone's feelings are valid. So you can't just like totally knock them. But you also want to teach your kids to be resilient with having conflict. And when I say affection, I mean love languages. We talk about these things, you know, the touch.
Yes.
Okay, so there are 5 different love languages. Some theorists say that there are more, but there's the touch, quality time, words of affirmation, gift giving, and acts of service, right? And so is it very helpful to learn your love language? Absolutely. That would be very helpful. Me personally, I am a words of affirmation person and a quality time, you know, pretty strong. Quality time and touch are right there next to each other. So, but words of affirmation is right at the top, which is why I guess I'm a wooer and stuff. But that's what my love language is, which means that I can't just love people. I can't pour out my love just through words of affirmation and through, you know, quality time, because that may not be your love language. Your love language may be gift giving. So I have to love you from the scope of your love language, not mine.
Yes.
And you should love me through the scope of my love language. So if you are an acts of service person, that's your love language, I will offer you my assistance. Well, how can we partner together? How can I support you this week? What might I be able to take off your plate this week? And that shows you may feel the love for me way more. Parents, it's imperative that you learn your child's love language. Like, they are not too young to know what love is. But we are sometimes too aloof to actually engage in how they want to be loved. Me hugging on my children, and that's not their love language. No matter how many days I push that, it's not going to catch. It's not fire. It's not going to catch. You got to learn their love language. I would encourage taking, like, you know, look on the internet. I'm sure there's like some free tests or whatever. That'd be something good to do as a family, just to learn what the love languages are and actually guide yourself from that. But definitely engaging in connectivity and just activities, doing things with them that they would like. One of the things that I admire about my brother-in-law, shout out to Tony Williams. I know if you're looking or logged in, I'm going to shout you out, because one of the things that I can appreciate about him is that like he'll be on TikTok with them and stream through stuff and send them memes, and they'll, you know, go back and forth with that type of stuff, because that's what the girls, my nieces, engage in. And so he tries to connect with them through that. And that's awesome to me that he is like, okay, I'm going to show interest in what you're interested in and try to connect with you on that level, so that there can be another level of comfort for them to, you know, feel free to tell them something. But with that phone, let me just put this caveat in here. When you're with the children, be with the children.
Say it again, please.
Ayabasha.
Yeah, I felt that. Say it again.
When you are with the children, be with the children. Be all in. Like, there's nothing worse than saying, yeah, I'm going to do something with you, and then you're on your phone. Then you're scrolling through, or you're sending email. You still working. Like, that really irks the children.
It does.
And again, I say, I am a therapist that has still a lot of kids. This comes up in almost every session. There's usually always one parent that's checked out. Even if your body is there, you're not there. And that creates definite distance, and it further arms them for defense.
And that's something I'll never forget. My pastor, Marsha, shout out to Marsha Bailey, Dr. Marsha Bailey from Right Direction Church International. She was saying how we are not, she was saying even with her grandkids, she has to learn, let me put the phone away. I need to be engaged. Like even when you're sitting there among family, but everybody's on their phones. No one's talking to each other. So just making sure that you're open and knowing their love. Like that's something I had to learn over time. Joshua was definitely big on words of affirmation. Mommy, am I doing this right? That's when he used to call me mommy. Now it's mother, mom. So
at least you're not bruh.
Every now and again, the bruh comes out.
Never mind.
The bruh every now and again. I just let it slip. Like, I don't know, about 2 years ago, I just finally let it go. I used to stare kids down, my students. Bruh. But now I realize it's a
term of endearment.
Yeah. That and twin. I got called twin by
you're my twin in them.
Yes.
Go best friend.
Yes. So it was just like, it took me over time that I realized his was words of affirmation. His was also quality time. So I had to learn, we gonna sit here and watch Backyardigans, whatever he wants to watch. Now I'm not gonna lie, sometimes during football season, I had problems with that. But that's another struggle with himself. Yes, he's good. He's still good.
Take one for the team.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to do that.
Yes. So it's just the whole fact of just being engaged with them and just truly, like, I love watching the videos between TikTok and Instagram where you see the 6'4" dude sitting at the table with his daughter, having a tea party, or you're eating imaginary spaghetti that they prepared in their kitchen for you, and you act truly engaged. That stuff goes
a long way.
A long way. A long way.
I'm still eating make-believe food and Play-Doh. It's yummy. Thank you, kids. Just in case you're watching, thank you. Thank you, kids.
So, but even Joshua will get on me because I'll say, because our way of bonding now, because he has a life, is we don't do a movie night out. We'll do movie night here where we'll watch, like X-Men was out streaming on. We were watching that. So he would get on me like, okay, you're on your phone now and you're going to be asking me questions.
Ooh.
And I'm just like,
ooh.
Okay, so, all right.
Doesn't that feel like something when your children, start to check?
Which is weird. Like, you'll be on his, but he still... And he knows my mind.
You're not set up that way.
No, I'm not set up that way. So knowing your kids' love language is very, very, very important. Even though I admit in the beginning, even though I wanted my parents, and again, you know better, you do better. And I realized my mom, she admitted to me later on, they weren't raised the way I wanted. They weren't raised in an affectionate household where it was the love you and the hug you and the touchy. Right. I wanted that. So it was ironic how I wanted that. And then when I got Joshua, I didn't know how to reciprocate that.
Right.
Because I wasn't used to that, even though I wanted that.
We usually crave what we're starved.
So I had to eventually get to the point where I would force myself to hug him, force myself to cuddle, even though it felt weird to me, even though this is something, y'all, I wanted. I wanted this. So it was like me learning him and working with him.
Yeah.
And it came over time.
I like the fact that you push through the discomfort.
Oh, yeah.
Like sometimes as parents, we don't push past the discomfort, and it leaves us at a place where we're not supposed to be at in our relationships, or even just as individuals developmentally, we end up stagnant in certain respects, and that's because we won't push past the discomfort, you know.
And people don't understand what that does to a child when you decide, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
even though that's something
already. That, you know, the funny thing is that that's where a lot of children learn their first rejection from home. in some kind of way, like whether I don't want to hug you or I don't want to play with you, even though, I mean, yeah, we worked a long day and you come in, I mean, you already done got your kids ready for school, you took them to school, went to work, picked them up from school, made dinner, did all the errands, whatnot, but all they know is I want to play with mommy or I want to play with daddy. And then we be like, you know, I'm tired, I don't want to do it. It's their first bit of rejection usually comes from the house.
Wow.
In some kind of form.
Wow. I don't know why I immediately flashed to this book me and a coworker used to teach called Crash by Jerry Spinelli. And Crash was a bully. He was a meanie, but his mom and dad worked so much they never spent time with him. And when they finally got home, they were tired. But then you had Penn Webb, who he was considered like the geek, but his parents went to different places on the weekend, and they traveled, they went places, and his dad has been promising for months to take him to a game. It was a baseball game, but they lived in Pittsburgh. They have yet to go because he always had to work. So eventually he started envying Penn Webb because it's like, you're a dweeb and you live in this small house, but yet your parents are there for you and they spend time with you. Yeah. So, and it was, I want to say it was one scene where he was an awesome football player and he kept scoring touchdowns because he says, if my dad and my mom shows up, they'll see me score. And when the coach yanked him out the game, he didn't want to leave because his parents hadn't showed up yet. But he was mad because Penn Webb, who made the cheerleading squad, and he said, your parents are here. Yeah. I say grandfather because his parents were older. Your parents are here cheering you on as a cheerleader. My dad and my mom's not even here to see me.
With a touchdown.
It was, yeah.
It speaks volumes, though.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So our last one of.
You see what I did there?
Yes.
You see what I did there?
Yes.
Affirmative action. Affirm.
Please, I'm not even going to ask any questions. Just go at it.
Listen, affirmation matched with action allows for access to your children.
Say that again, please.
Affirmation matched with action allows access. So, like, anyone that's a believer knows, life and death is in the power of the tongue, right? But to that same point, faith without works is dead. And so words are only words when you don't see any action behind it. Yeah, I'm always here to support you, son. I love you, son, but you don't ever come to the game and see me make the touchdown, Or, you're beautiful. You're beautiful just the way you are. Go pretty yourself up. Fix yourself. What's going on? I don't like what you're wearing. Go fix yourself. The words have got to have the action to actually make it true. If you say, no, you're so smart, you're brilliant, you are intelligent, don't talk to me like I'm dumb then. Don't do the slow talk. Do you understand what I am saying? Wow, you just dumb talked me just then. But you said I'm smart. Affirmative action. Whatever it is that you are affirming your children with, please, ma'am, please, sir, back it up with the actions that would say, I'm not lying to you. I'm gonna sit back on that.
That is.
I know that was like I had to make my number 5, the zinger, because I mean that's one of the things that really just to take it home.
Mm-hmm.
I said in the beginning, like our children, they do what they see, and they do after how we model. So if I'm just talking to you, I'm just telling you all the things, but I'm doing something totally different, or I don't present you with something physical, something tangible to see, like what makes you believe me? And if you can't even believe me as your parent, think of the trust that you're gonna have with everybody in your life. Like you're just gonna be out here. Whew.
If you know someone is not on this live, I will be posting this again. This will be posted on my YouTube. There was like this whole affirm thing. Like it bothers me when I hear people call their kids bad. Like that bothers me to my soul.
Yeah.
Or you hear about the child who said the teacher said you're going to end up in jail. Now, what I would tell my students is if you keep on this road that you're on, you're going to find yourself in some places you don't want to be in, and jail could be one of them. But not you're a jailbird, you're no good, you're this. Even I'll admit, Joshua sometimes will talk himself down. I was like, nah, we believe in Jesus' name that you will do well on this, you will conquer this, you will speak life. When she said life and death is in the power of the tongue, even people who are not Christians believe in manifestations.
For sure.
Yep. But as a Christian in anything, when God spoke, let there be light, and there was light. The same thing is with our mouths.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to be very, like, even when your kid is making bad decisions, well, he ain't going to amount to no good. And so you're already canceling out your prayers. You're already canceling out your blessings. You're already canceling out your prayers because instead of you saying, you know what, I really hope they get it together.
Right.
Maybe we should, I'm giving them something to help them see you actually believe in what you said.
Right.
You want them to get it together and you push them, and not just saying, you know what, I'm done, I give up, or you just, it's just so many things within this one alone. And when she said the whole, you're beautiful, but why's your hair look like that? Why's your shirt bunched up? But you're beautiful though.
Right.
That's a contradiction. Like when she's, yeah.
I mean, I just think about it. I think about it all the time. Namely because I'm faced with it just in my line of work. But there's so many different messages that are put out there that we speak over our young daughters and our young sons, and it's just not backed up with the action. And then we get mad as parents when someone else backs up our words with their actions, but from a place of perversion or a place of inappropriate or malicious intent. That saying you're beautiful, now comes from some guy that just want to, get at her real quick, or another female that want to get at her real quick, whatever, and it's just, it's like, well, okay. But they said that she was beautiful, and then they gave her affection, and then they were playful with her, and then they modeled, the behavior that they were wanting to receive back from her.
Wow.
And then they were, trying to love her through her love language. I mean, if you want to create a safe house, for real, a safe house, the best thing to do to try to check yourself is to say, would I feel safe in this house? Would I feel safe in this house to share anything with who I am and how I'm portraying and how I'm communicating or not communicating?
Oh my gosh. So let me just,
Lord Jesus, Ryan, you just shook your head off.
We're actually over time.
Lord, I'm so sorry.
No, but we're good though, because I allot myself 30 to 45 minutes. I'm definitely going to post this on my YouTube page. If you want to follow Janelle, here's her Instagram, her Facebook, her TikTok, her website. Y'all, it was so many good things. So when I do repost the YouTube link where you can, because I'm not going to leave this live on here long. Once I pull it down, that's Canva. I thought that was the I'm sorry, y'all. I was like, why is Canva doing this? No. So basically, when I post the YouTube link, share it with people, replay it. I would recommend that you sit down and have these conversations with your child, not with an attitude. Make sure your mind is right. Sit down and talk with your spouse. Sit down and talk with your kids and ask them, do you feel safe? Do you feel... And I actually did that with Joshua. I would actually ask him, because I was dealing with my own insecurity sometimes. So I was like, do you feel like I'm a good mom? And every now and again, he would come to me and say, you know, you're a good mommy. And I'm just like, thank you. I just see this. And it's like, and because I was dealing with some things, which I'll share another time, but it was just like, he would affirm, but he would also let me know, well, when you did such and such, I felt like. So when you have that vulnerability and have that safety, they can come to you and tell you. And that transpires also into school. Yeah, they feel comfortable coming to their teacher if they feel safe. So that's why we have to make sure as teachers we're making that safe environment in our classrooms, but they also feel comfortable letting you know as a parent, this isn't right. And can we go in and meet, or can you talk to her, or I've talked to her and this isn't right. When they feel safe and they know you're not going to be that parent, you're supposed to go to school to learn. Nobody worry about somebody like you. Parents, they need to feel liked. Yeah, they need to feel like
it's important.
It's very important for them.
It's one of the 5 basic needs.
Yes. So if they don't feel, they know you're going to come with that attitude, then they're not going to feel comfortable coming to you and telling you that this teacher, sadly, we work with professionals where they are not professional and it's not safe. So we have to rectify that. So again, having that safe environment so they can thrive, be themselves, and grow. Yeah, for sure. This will definitely not be the first or the last time she will be on here. I don't know what episode we will be on, but she will be a reoccurring, because there's so many good things that we want to make sure our kids... Somebody said the other day, it is so many parents that have messed up their children, and we want to make sure that we're not those parents. And even if we had not the best start, we can end it. Our latter days can be better. So
there's no expiration time on parenting while you're alive.
No, it's not, if you can make it right, especially in those young years, in those formative years. So I thank you so much for joining us. My next episode will be, and I'm gonna have to look at my phone because dates just elude me nowadays.
Dates be dating.
So our next episode is actually going to be on August 27th. I'm bringing on Bugsy, Calhoun, and Wintah Storm, who are a husband and wife team, but they're both poets. But we're also going to discuss who was the most difficult Huxtable child. Me and Janelle already got into it, and she already argued down. It was Denise all day, every day.
Absolutely.
I can argue for Vanessa and Theo. And so we're going to, Denise. I can argue for Theo and Vanessa easily.
Theo is just being a guy.
I refuse to accept that.
So,
but we will have that discussion along with talking about poetry and spoken word and whatnot. And then the next, I'm doing this every 2 weeks until I get a rhythm. If I feel like I need to come on every week, I will. But until then, love y'all. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
And I think I'm still live. There we go. In stream. There we go.